This morning, I have with me Antwiwaa, Nana Antwiwaa Asante, Esquire. Nana, please, can you show your video? Yes.
My video is on.
Wow. Okay. Maybe it's loading. Yes. I'm not seeing it yet, but I'm sure it's loading. Yes. So,
Okay.
Antwiwaa is the people lead for Accra Breweries PLC, a member of the AB InBev Group. She is a member of the Ghana Bar Association and has over 16 years experience cumulatively in senior management positions across beverage manufacturing, hospitality, banking, and legal firms. She is an inspirer. She loves to change and is versatile. She loves resolving conflicts. And if she's not doing all of these, she loves to walk. Thanks for coming, Antwiwaa.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
Hello, can you
great.
hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, but your video
But
is yet
you
to
just
show.
can't see me. I don't know what's up with the video because I see that it's on. Can anybody else see me?
Now, please, can you see Antwiwaa's video?
No, not yet. And Shreya, maybe you should just go out and come back in, or switch on your camera off and then bring it back on.
Okay. Let me do that.
All right. Okay. As Antwiwaa is on that.
Is it showing now? Okay, you go ahead and let me. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So the next panelist we have is Kafui Ntow. Kafui Ntow, please, can you show your video? Yes, Kafui is an engineering management specialist. Yes, great. Yes, Kafui, we can see you. Yes, yes. He is an engineering management specialist, a project management and supply chain expert. Kafui has experience in the HR field for over 6 years across FMCG and multinational companies. She is a highly skilled individual in organizational effectiveness, industrial relations, rewards management, and HR analytics, and more. Kafui has the passion for ministry work and developing young people. So Kafui, today you are at the right place. You get a lot of hats to impact our lives. Welcome. Thanks for being here, Kafui.
I see. Thanks very much for having me. Thanks very much, mentoring Kafui.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Okay. And our next panelist, but not the least, is Jemima Okyerewaa Tabiri. Hello, Jemima. Please, can you? Yes, we can see Jemima. Hi, Jemima.
Hi, Eunice.
Yes. Okay. Jemima is a chartered accountant with over 13 years experience in leading FMCG multinational companies across West and Central Africa. She is an SME value chain coach. She has strength in developing and implementing internal controls to achieve efficiency. She loves training and coaching finance and non-finance managers on profit and loss accounts. She is also known as the Finance Gem. Welcome on board the Finance Gem.
Thanks, Eunice. Thanks, Mentoring Cafe, for the opportunity. I'm happy to be part of today's discussions.
Great, great. We are also happy to have you. Okay, right. So we would want to move on into our questions. But before we get to that, I want to encourage all of us to share the link with our friends and families so that we don't enjoy the cake alone. Let's have more of us joining so that they can also be impacted as well. Please feel free to post your comments, your questions, and additions and subtractions, everything in the comment box, and I'll be glad to read them out. Great. Okay. Our first question, we want to engage Antwiwaa. Hello, Antwiwaa.
Hello. I think can you see me now? If not, then I've been in and out.
So,
I don't know what else I can do.
oh,
So sorry.
no problem. We'll manage with this. I pray it comes on soon, because I really want to see your face. Okay. So yes, back onto the topic. Antwiwaa, over the period that you've been in the HR space and all your working life, I want you to share with us the understanding of the topic. Who is an employee of choice?
Okay. Thank you, and good morning, everyone.
Good
And
morning.
thank you all for having me, and those of you who have taken time out of your holiday to join us, thank you for joining us. So, who is an employee of choice?
Yeah.
It's really basic. It is that employee that
Mhm.
everybody knows they can rely on. It's that employee who has the right attitude, who has the owner's mindset. So it's that employee who, when senior managers or relevant managers are sitting at the table and discussing employees, it is that employee that everybody in that room will have a positive comment about, or would have had a positive experience, um, to discuss. So that is, in summary, the employee of choice, the model employee, has the right attitude, is punctual, puts their hands up. So we'll talk about the indicators, but basically, the employee of choice is that employee that every line manager would want to work with. And so even when it comes to promotions, this is that employee that every line manager will want to be promoted, and every line manager will want to accept into their team, regardless of what level that position is.
Thank you so much, Antwiwaa. So I picked some nuggets from what you just said, that an employee of choice is that one employee that is reliable and has the owner's mindset, is positive, and has the right attitude.
Correct.
Now, if nothing at all, I'm working out with these four. Thank you, Antwiwaa.
You're welcome.
Okay. Kafui, and I would want to find out from you that I believe you've come this far because you created value for yourself. You were an employee of choice. I want to ask you, what were the key ingredients that brought you this far, that made you stand out as an employee of choice?
All right, okay. So, I was listening to Okyerewaa, and it's very interesting that, look,
Yeah.
she spelled it out very correctly. The employee of choice, somebody who looks like the business, smells like the business, and the one who role model the values of the business. Okay. All right. And Chua has worked everywhere. You can see also, I can see this guy too on the call, Sedem. I mean, one of my friends, worked everywhere. You'd see that businesses are different everywhere. Submiller is different from Unilever, InBev is different from Danone, and every business has underlying values and cultures and has expectations of employees. And so it's very important that wherever you work, you need to understand what the business expects of you. All right. So Chua mentioned owner's mindset. Owner's mindset means that, look, you have the mindset of the business. You understand the key business priorities. You understand the business context. You understand how the business makes money. You understand the business model. You understand the P&L. And of course, I mean, a lot of people don't know what a P&L looks like, especially if you're not in finance. And today I want to bash my HR people. Look, if you are in HR, you need to understand the business P&L, because you need to understand the shape of the business. Why is the business not making profit? What are the things in the P&L that is speaking to the business performance? You need to understand. And so the player choice, somebody who's aligned to business priorities. Okay, so if you don't align yourself, you don't understand what the values are. In fact, some people don't even know what the mission of the business is. They are just working in the business. Okay, they just, what's the vision of the business? What's the mission of the business? Oh, we are here to make drugs. You just paraphrase it. They don't even know what it is. They don't understand the business lingo. In a meeting, they don't speak the business language, okay? They don't even know what the KPIs, what the business is chasing. They just come and then want to take their salaries, and then when other people get promoted, they said, "Oh, this is a family and friends government," you know, kind of thing. Okay, so the first thing you need to do if you're in a business is to understand what the business requires of you. And so some little story here and there. Okay, so you see Boeing, of course, moved from the 737 to 737 MAX, all right? And they didn't train the pilots. And the pilots didn't know that there was something called MCAS that takes over the plane when the plane wants to stall, okay? Okay, so a plane flies from Jakarta, it was going somewhere, and then the MCAS was activated. The pilot didn't know that he had 10 seconds to shut off the MCAS. He killed everybody, you know. He killed everybody because he didn't know. Every business has an MCAS, you know. You need to understand what the underlying things of the business is. And some businesses have scripted, their values are written, others are not written. But then even though if it's not written, you see that most likely the leaders of the business are role modeling the values of the business. And so personally, what I learned from moving around is that one of the things that I have done anytime I get into a business, I want to know what's the business strategy, what's the mission, what's the vision, what does the business performance looks like? I mean, who are the competitors? I mean, all just to make sure I align. What are the leadership standards? What am I going to be judged by? Okay. How do people get promoted? All right. So what is the business looking for in an employee? How do I also become like a director in the business? So what are the things that are driving the people who are getting to the top? And then when I get to learn it, it aligns me, and then all my activities just align to that. And then some way, somehow, because I'm aligned to the business, I get carried by the wind of the business to the top. So that's how I think it works. I hope that helps, actually. All right.
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you so much, Kafui. I'm in love with this. Scholar is saying that she likes an employee of choice smells like the business. That statement, she loves that statement that an employee of choice smells the business. And Nai is also saying that we should understand the P&L. Please feel free to share your learning so that others may read as they join in. You can post your comments, your questions, and hashtag. Remember to hashtag the Mentoring Cafe, hashtag HR, and then let Mentoring Cafe be known. Yes. So my next question will go to Jemima. Okay. So Jemima, I would want to understand from your point of view, the why. Why do you think an individual should be concerned with creating value as an employee?
Thanks, Eunice. As Kafui and Antwiwaa were talking, I could really relate to the examples that they were saying. So whilst preparing for this presentation this week, I came across my picture on Facebook about 13 years ago. That was when I had just completed Legon. And coincidentally, I had a current picture of myself. And I look back at 13 years ago, who Jemima was then, and how I have evolved now. It really sets the context for today's discussions. The value that had been added to myself, because back then I was just fresh from school. So I started just even looking at the physical, the internal, talking about the business mindset. You are just from school, fresh. All you know is the debit and credit. Please pardon me because of my finance background. But I can say that despite where I started, I have moved through quite a couple of roles, a couple of skills and experiences that I have attained over the years, which has added value to myself as an employee. So one thing that I'll say is, it doesn't matter where you are starting now, there's a deliberate action to create value to become an employee of choice, and it will get there. One will ask, why do you want to become why do you want to add value to yourself? The first thing, life is like that. You have to add value to yourself. We all know, let's say a seed, like a maize seed. If you put it into the ground, it grows, becomes a plant, and grows and gives us a lot of fruits and seeds that we also use for other generations. Such is life. You can choose, it's two things. Either you continue to remain in the ground and not grow, or you continue to grow. And as you grow, that's when you add value. That's the first thing. You have to add value because such is life. Secondly, don't add value, you will lose the value that you have now. It's simple. You see a CD today, you give one CD to two different people. One put it under his pillow. Next year, I come back, he gives the one CD to me. Nothing has changed. Another uses the CD to go to buy credits, uses the CD to buy something and resells. You'll be surprised that after a year, a CD now will be worth a CD2 in future, but it depends on how it is being used or how its value had evolved. The person who had kept himself as it is now will lose the value because definitely we have inflation going around. So the CD, what the CD could buy today, come next year, could buy something worth what, 50 pesos. Is that how you want your value to be? If you don't value yourself now, a year from now, you'll not be the same. Second, thirdly, if you don't add value to yourself, others are adding value to themselves. So we all graduated from school. We are all graduating from the mentoring cafe cohort 2. But in a year from now, when we meet together as a team, I don't expect all of us to be the same. And I'll end with this last illustration. We all remember the famous Nokia. Back then, all the phones that we used were Nokia. But now, how many of us use Nokia? The operating systems changed and evolved. Now we have Android, we have Apple coming up. They couldn't take up with speed and changes. The value of Nokia automatically dropped. This is the reason why you need to add value to yourself as an employee.
Thanks so much, Jemima. So the key picks from your delivery is that the evolution of oneself brings improvement. That improvement is key. That is the reason why you shouldn't ignore this topic. That is the more reason why you have to make input to ensure that you progress, you improve from where you began to where you are. Just like the Nokia. We can't forget this example. Thanks so much. Thanks, Jemima. And please, Antwiwaa, now I can see you. I can see your beautiful face, Esquire. Yes. Okay. So my next question comes to you, Antwiwaa. I would want to know, I know in your line of work, you have come across a lot of employees who have distinguished themselves as employees of choice. What would you say were their distinguishing attributes that made it clear that, hey, this is an employee of choice, this is not? That clear attributes we want to know so that we can also get there. So over to you, Antwiwaa. Hi, you are muted, Antwiwaa.
I'm using for the camera, I'm using my phone. So I guess that's why I was confused. Okay, so Jemima and Kafui have kind of set some of the indicators. What Jemima talked about with respect to Nokia reminds me of Kodak. In fact, we have this saying or a phrase, and it is the Kodak smile or the Kodak moment. Because back in the day, Kodak was the only camera that we used. That was the only camera everybody knew. But today, Kodak doesn't exist anymore. And it is called the paradigm shift. You know, things shifted. Kodak didn't shift. They didn't see the future. They didn't see what was coming. So as an employee, like Jemima said, you have to know what's happening. And like Kafui said, you have to know what's happening. HR or not, you need to know what the business vision is, the P&L, you know, what you are chasing. If you're in a plant like I am, what they are bottling, what they are brewing, what the salespeople are selling, what their KPIs are. You have to remain relevant, because if you don't know what is going on, you will be left behind. Getting by is not good enough. You know, you cannot just say what I'm doing is enough. That is not good enough. So when these people that stand out are those who get going, who add value to themselves, who know what's going on, who raise their hands and say, there's a project, who are we going to use? I want to be part of it. I want to lead it. There's some learnings, there's some self-learning that has to be done within a certain time. Somebody like, I'm tired, I get home at 5, transportation, I come back to work at 6. Oh, me them my bread, I can't. No, these are the people who go the extra mile. If there's overtime, now work-life balance is important, but you should appreciate the fact that you still have to work. So even we're not talking about women, right? But even with women, you have women who are pregnant and who will behave like pregnancy is a disease. Pregnancy is not a disease. There are some challenging pregnancies. I was hospitalized for like 4 weeks to, I think, 6 weeks before I had my son. If you have those issues, we understand. But there are some women who, as soon as they get pregnant, come to work and be like, you know, I'm pregnant, I'm sick. All those things will not bode well for you. So in the workplace, and as much as we talk about work-life balance, we look at the employee who is enthusiastic, who is excited, who wants to be part of the team, who is ready to learn, who's ready to raise their hands, who again, like Kathy said, who behave like the business is their own. You understand? Now, also back to what Jemima said, you have to bloom where you have been planted. So if you've been given a role as network engineer, you need to make sure that you bloom within the network engineer role. You do everything that you have to do. You come up with ideas, you come up with the initiatives, you impress, everybody and anybody who has interactions with you. Because sometimes, depending on your role, you work with everybody in the business. So you have to make sure that you really bloom where you have been planted. There's another thing, making sure that you live above the snake line. I don't know if it's true, but they say that snakes cannot live above a certain altitude. As an employee, make a line for yourself. Don't be a low life person, gossiping when you don't even know that it is true. Have you heard? Just yesterday, I did a case where the employee had resigned. You should see the resignation letter. It was full of venom. You don't want to do that. You are leaving and you don't know what tomorrow has. So you don't, in your resignation letter, talk about others, things that might or might not even be true. So don't go around saying things that you don't know. Even things that you have seen, don't say. Because by the time you tell person A, and A tells person B, and it gets to person Z, the information would have been distorted, and meanwhile, you will be held accountable and responsible for that. Don't be petty. Don't be negative. You understand? What somebody else is doing is none of your business, so long as it doesn't impact what you are doing. Be accountable for your actions, and also be accountable for, in a way, for the actions of others. So you might be part of a chain. Somebody has to do something before you can do what you have to do, and then what you do has to impact somebody else. Embrace the person to your left and the person to your right, and if necessary, help everybody along the chain. Don't sit in your pigeonhole and say, as for me, I'm supposed to punch the letter H. So if the person who has to punch G has a problem with their hands and they can't punch the G, I don't care. Be open to help other people. And really, don't be foolish. Don't be stupid. Be very centered. And then workplace politics. the people who have excelled know how to play the workplace politics quite well. Whether you like it or not, it should be there. You don't have to go kiss ass, as in, do all those horrible things just to get ahead. Because when you do those things, people notice, and that will not get you ahead. So those employees who have excelled, they know when to hit which button. They know who to talk to. They know how to position themselves in the right way and not negatively. They don't go to the MD and say things about the other person that is negative because they want to get into the MD's books. Trust me, the MD might work on the information you have given him, but he will not like you or rely on you or want to promote you because of your work ethics. So in summary, for those who have gotten ahead, they have emotional intelligence. They know what's going on around them. They know what the future holds. They know where the business is going. They also know that the future of work is changing and they adapt to suit that. And overall, they're very pleasant to work with. And everybody likes them for the right reasons, not because they kiss ass, but because they have the talent, the skill, the right attitude, and the ability to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Antwiwaa. Yes. So they don't go kissing asses. So from what you said, I just put this together for those who just joined. You mentioned that it is important that you bloom where you are planted, and the employees of choice have characteristics of going the extra mile. They remain relevant, and they are accountable for their actions. They position themselves right. They are emotionally intelligent and have the right work ethics. Thanks so much, Antwiwaa. So back to our audience. We have some comments and questions that I would want to read them out. Please continue posting your questions and your comments and we'll gladly read them. Okay, so somebody asked what's the P&L is, and thanks, Kafui, you responded to that rightly. Thank you. And Nisaka says, brilliant. If you don't add value if you don't add value, you use your value. So if you don't add value, you use your value and you round out of value. Thank you, Nisaka. And from Sedem says there's a good point on growing and adding value. Plants that do not grow are pruned or cut off. That's right. Thank you, Sedem. And value yourself now and ensure you add more. That is from Na. And from Scholastica, she says that value addition is key to remain relevant. Bernard Ofori, it is always necessary to reinvent and develop yourself to meet the demands of your industry. Willie says evolution of self brings about growth and relevance. Thank you, Willie. Na says so Na has a question. Na's question is, if I put up my hand most of the time because I want to add value to myself, will I not be tagged as Madam Do It All by my friends? Okay, so please, we will address this question from Na. Kafui, will you go for it? Okay, so Antwiwaa,
I think you should allow it.
Antwiwaa, please do it. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, you need to be able to deliver on things that you raise your hands for. So you don't want to put too much on your plate, because if you keep raising your hands and you don't complete or participate in the way and manner you're supposed to participate in whatever you have raised your hands for, that'll be a problem. So take it in bites that you can actually chew and swallow. That said, the day you were hired into the organization, it was just you, right? You came alone, and if you are leaving, you leave alone. What do you care about what others are thinking? So long as you are delivering the value that you promised to deliver by raising your hands, and through that process, you learn and improve yourself. It's not about what others think. It's about doing the right thing for yourself and for the business. Thank you.
Thank you,
I can
Antwiwaa.
come in.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Please
just
go
to
for it.
add to Antwiwaa had just said, I just wanted to share a practical example. So I remember my first management meeting experience. So it's just at the leadership level. So you get to go for your meeting, you see all those KPIs. Fine, even though I had a finance background, here was the case that we were discussing demand and supply and gaps and other things. So normally what I advise is just take your time, get the fundamentals right, get the basics right. Even prior to going for such meetings or even raising your hand, what research have you done? What are you bringing on board? And one thing I mostly do is, I'm a finance person. What do I bring into such meetings? If I have been granted that opportunity to be in that management meeting, what contribution am I bringing? So for instance, you are discussing about some demand gap, which might not help us achieve our target for the year, let's say for 2022. If I'm raising my hand, what am I bringing on board as a finance person? And that's where you add value to yourself as an employee. You should make a deliberate attempt so that whatever comment that comes up of your mouth or contribution that you are given, it's very relevant. So it's not always about raising your hand, but it's about what you are saying, what contributing, what value you are bringing into that contribution.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Antwiwaa and Jemima. Kafui, would you want to add any?
Yes, I have a few points to make.
Okay.
Look, the points that have been made are very relevant. You know, becoming a player of choice, it's about building reputation. And for me, reputation is everything. All right. Because like Antwiwaa said, the day a decision is being made about your career, you are not there. All right. Okay. You might not even know. So I've sat in various talent meetings deciding on people's career, and the people knew zilch about it. They didn't know when the decision was being made. But you see, what gave them leverage or not was the reputation they have built over time. All right. Reputation is a currency. All right. So it either appreciates or depreciates. Okay. And you know, of course, in recent times, we have very bad experiences with that currency. Strong currencies have a reputation of appreciating against other currencies. Okay. And bad ones like ours always depreciate against other currencies. All right. And you see that strong currencies are actually a testament of very strong investment into the economy of the country, right? Okay, so because it's the foundations are very strong economically. When the wind blows, they still stand. I don't know if you're a little religious, you know, the wise man built his house upon the rock, the foolish man builds upon the sand, and the wind came and the rains came, and then the one on the rock stood firm. You can imagine building upon a rock, you have blisters in your hand, right? And you need to build a strong reputation, make investment into your reputation in service of your career, right? I mean, for me, that is the basic thing about being an employee of choice. Build a reputation that people can know that, look, I remember a story, you know, anytime recently in our business, we wanted to choose people to do a project on cost optimization. You can imagine we are being muzzled by the economy, of course. Things have deteriorated, the volatility of the business and all that. So we said we wanted people who can actually fix this thing. We selected some people. And before we realized, you realize that these are people who have built a reputation of doing things, executing tasks to the letter anytime they've been given tasks in the past. That's it. You get me? So that is it. We just selected them before we realized. We checked and we realized that these people were people who had built strong reputation. How do I invest into a strong currency? Every day is an interview. All right. Every day is an interview. The day you call me, Eunice, the day you call me, and then however I sound is the impression you have about me. And that's my interview for the day. Right? When I meet the finance director and he said, "Oh, how are you doing? I'm fine." And then he speaks and says, "Okay, how do you see the business is doing?" He said, "Hey, the business there is not going well." Oh. I mean, you have created an impression, and that's your interview. But if you start saying and say that, look, oh, it looks like the sales has dropped by 15%. Our net profit from operations is suffering from forex depreciation. I can see that we have 6 million deficit on forex depreciation, and I don't know how we are going to get out of this. You have made an impression. You just completed an interview. All right. And the task, the way you execute your task is a testament of your, or is a bid for the next job. You know, people have tasks, you give them tasks. They do it, they come, you ask them, why are you using 30% inflation instead of 15%? It's like, oh, can't you see the economy has Jimmy? What an answer, you know? You've just created an impression of yourself. You say, oh, I checked Fish. Fish is making 18% projection for Ghana in 2023. I went to the World Bank. World Bank didn't have an opinion, but they think that inflation will deteriorate over time, but the 40% is not real. I think it's around 35%. So I took an average and I put it on 30% because I think it's safe. You are stating things with the basics, so people understand that the task that you are doing, you are executing it to the letter. You are not just putting things. One of the ways of building a reputation is to make sure that when you speak in a meeting, never make a comment that you cannot defend. All right. Never put anything on a presentation that you don't have a basis for. That's another way of building a strong reputation. Speak your mind by all means. Ghanaians don't like speaking their mind. You know, they'll be in a meeting and it's like they'll just be shaking their heads. As soon as they get out of the meeting, they said, but what did that guy say? Ask him what he said. Speak your mind in the meeting. By all means, speak your mind, but speak it in context, because every business has a culture. You should be able, if you disagree, don't say, oh, what you're saying is nonsense. No, you don't say that. You say, I think I have a different opinion. All right? You've just, and then you speak your mind. It may be right or wrong. Build a reputation for yourself. When you're in a meeting, you keep quiet. You know, I've seen meetings where, and Jemima, you're a finance person. When you go for meetings and they are talking the business financials, these people they are doing this. Yes. They understand zero. They don't understand anything. It's like, oh yes. Lift up your hand if you don't understand and say, why is profit over time deteriorating when our net sales is going up? What is happening? Oh, they will say it's the SG&A. What's happening at the SG&A? You've created an impression. Reputation is everything when you want to become an employee of choice. And my last example, so it's biblical anyway. Joseph was in prison, and then two people had a dream. He interpreted the dream, and it came to pass. So the other guy went to the palace, and then Pharaoh had a dream and he had forgotten, he couldn't interpret it. And the guy remembered. Because of Joseph's reputation of interpreting dreams, he called him. And when he called him, he delivered on his reputation. So reputation begets more opportunity for reputation to be begetted. You understand? So if you build a reputation that people know, before you realize it will be transferred into a place that is important, when it gets there also, make sure you deliver on your reputation. That is why you should be ever learning. Finance people who don't know how to use Excel, who are still writing on the sheet, calculator. Last time I gave an assignment to one of my friends and I said, look, 600 employees, check something for me. And she started using calculator. I said, this one you finish in 2095. You understand? And there are Excel functions that can do this in 2 seconds. I took the Excel, I just did a function. They are not so obvious ones, all right? Okay, so, and they are obvious ones. So you need to learn the not so obvious ones as well. In 5 minutes, I just finished. And he said, hey, sir, you have to teach us Excel. Nobody teaches anybody anything in this time. Go on the net and read for it. Always be ever learning. Build a reputation that people know that this guy is X. So in my view, if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Make sure your fundamentals are strong. Build a strong currency. Reputation is a currency, and I think reputation is everything. And that's how we become employees of choice. I mean, in my experience, I hope it helps. Probably.
These are powerful nuggets. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kafui, Antwiwaa, and Jemima. Thanks so much. So reputation is everything. Be ever learning. Be ever learning, adding value.
Eunice, you're on mute.
No, sorry. So sorry. Okay, so these were powerful nuggets. Thank you so much, Kafui. Be ever learning. My key points, be ever learning. And you mentioned that reputation is everything. Reputation is everything. From every engagement, you have the opportunity to build a reputation for yourself. So we want to go into questions and reactions from our audience. So please, from Sylvia. Sylvia says, great point on the business acumen and ownership mindset. Thank you, Sylvia. And from now, workplace politics is a key ingredient as well. I think now you should take us through another series on workplace politics because we want to know how to play it well. Yes, from now again, the employee of choice is liked for the right reasons. From Mercy, emotional intelligence and have the right work ethics. Thank you. And integrity from Scholastica. A question from Priscilla. How do you know the P and L of, say, a government organization where things are not always clear? Okay, so that's a question from a guest. I don't know. Jemima, would you want to take that?
Yes. I would like to take that. So what I might say is, what I can say is every organization has a different P&L. So even though I had worked within different FMCGs, the presentation is a little different, or the terms that we use. So for instance, Kafui mentioned SG&A. I was wondering if somebody could even say what's the meaning. So in one company, we used to call it MOJ, management and other general expense. You move to another company, it's called SG&A. So it's quite different. So what you do is when you get to an organization, take your time to understand. And even for such information, it's not so public, depending on the type of organization and your role. So if you have access to it, and nowadays I can see that most organizations give performance updates to employees. So from time to time, they tell you year-to-date performance when it comes to turnover is this. So as and when the information is made public to you, you can now ask for the meaning. So you are saying turnover. What is turnover? Turnover is simply like your sales that you had made. And that's how come you add. So you should be deliberate about understanding the P&L. Even though it's a government organization, they have their kind of financials, which is made public to you. You deliberately ask and you deliberately understand it. Then you can use it as an employee. And what Kafui said is right. Now, when you go for most management meetings where we have employees of choice, you could see that the sales and marketing guys understand the P&L because they deliberately have set themselves, they value themselves. I've had instances where I coach even sales directors. Actually, I'm going for management meeting. I need you to help me understand the P&L, and the good thing is once you take time to understand, now you even ask the most difficult questions in such meetings that we, the finance people, have to even explain further to the whole team. So let's put in an effort. Most of business organizations have evolved from individual departments. So you could see that much of the discussions or adding value are employees who are thinking business mindset. So not like I'm an accountant, so all I know is accounting, payroll, debit, credits. I don't know anything. And for me, what I did is I took a deliberate step. So instead of having an MSc in accounts or MSc in finance, I did an MSc in international business. So that gave me a different perception about the value chain in the business. So I had the feel of marketing, I had the feel of sales, I had the feel of supply chain, HR. So as an employee, in adding value to yourself, you should look at how it is going to impact the big organization as a whole. The value, you are not adding it only to yourself, you are adding it to yourself, to the company you work, to the colleagues you work with, and the society at large should benefit from the value that you have added to yourself.
Can I add
Jemima.
something?
Okay.
Jemima.
Please go ahead.
Okay, just this a follow-up to what Jemima said. So when we talk about P&L, yes, P&L is relevant, but what we're trying to say is that you should understand the business thoroughly. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you know what the P&L is. Because maybe even at your level, knowing the P&L isn't relevant to you. But maybe knowing how many employees you have in the organization, the average age of the employees, how many are married and not married, might be that relevant information that you need to know. It might even be knowing whether or not there's a cocoa seller down the street. Because for your role, that might be the relevant information that you need to know. So when we talk about knowing, so like Kafui was I'm lost. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
We almost
take
lost
now.
you. It's fine now.
Okay, yeah. So just to be quick, so Kafui was saying, knowing the markets and all of that. It's basically about knowing what is relevant for your role and to make sure that you understand the business to the extent that you are able to deliver the way you are able to deliver. So if you're in a government organization and you don't know the P&L and it's probably not relevant to you and what you're doing, don't stress yourself too much.
Thank you. Well said, Antwiwaa. You don't stress yourself if it's not relevant to you. Good.
Eunice, you're on
you're
mute.
muted.
It looks like we're all muted at the same time. Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks, Antwiwaa. Thank you. I understand we have some questions and comments from the comment session, so I'll take them as we address it. So from Rance, he says, if you don't grow to add value to yourself, even the little value you have, you will lose it. That's very true. And Willie says he agrees, when you put up your hand, bite what you can chew. Sylvia says the contribution must be relevant. And from Priscilla, another question from Priscilla, what do you do when you work in an environment that is not challenging and does not necessarily acknowledge added value, or there is no clear progression in that work environment? Over to you, my panelists.
I think the answer is simple. I mean, get out. That's it.
Yeah, get out.
I mean, get out. It's very simple. I mean, what are you doing there? And of course, we are different people, right? And we all want different things. So, I mean, if you are there, you're comfortable, fine. If you're not, get out. Okay, let me give you an example myself. Okay, I'm an engineer by training, all right? So I did engineering back for Unilever up to engineering manager level in Guinness. And then I was there and all the time. So people ask me, how do you go into HR? It's like, they're like, how an engineer become HR? The few I've demoted myself, but I think they are misinformed, right? Okay, so I was just there. And then at that time, Unilever was having a very crunch time. Guinness will have very crunch times with the business performance. Cox was out of the window. All right. Okay. So I was approached because I needed a new talent. I was approached and it's like, look, we need to make sure our cost is in line. Our cost per EU is 47 and the Africa benchmark is 2.5 or 25. So please make sure. And then I came to sit in finance. I was in finance. And my God, Jemima's people, they bullied me very well the first 3 months because I knew zilch about accounting. Oh, provision for doubtful debt and write-off, ML reval. They were just saying a lot of things. I'm like, guys, Charlie, what is this? I mean, take your time, very patient. And then I started taking my time. It was a new challenge for me. So I started taking my time, go on there, go and read about that, like read about accounting, everything. I understood everything. And then I started interacting because I had to do business cost, the whole business. And it was a 1-month project. But so I was sitting in finance for about 2.5 years, right? And when I got it, then I asked, send me your Excel sheet. Send me your Excel sheet. Send me your Excel sheet. And then I began to query the Excel sheet. I learned a few skills and I realized that there were mistakes in the Excel sheet. And I told them that, Charlie, this thing is wrong. He said, oh, you don't know our accounting treatment. He said, no, what is accounting treatment? It's plus and minus. I mean, what? Just take your time. I'm very patient. Just take your time. And then they began to realize that I knew the thing. They wouldn't bully me anymore. And I became like them. And I understood business, like reporting, commercial reporting, COX, everything to the letter, right? And it became a new challenge for me. I trained people, and now I can give performance updates. I remember back in Guinness when they are what do you call town halls. I was an engineer. I used to do for finance performance, for example, quarterly final towels. Can do for sales. New challenge, and it changed my career forever. And so I was asked to begin to look after early career graduates. And then when someone resigned from HR, they said, do you want to take an opportunity? I said, probably. And because I have proven that I'm able to take on new challenges and new opportunities were open to me, right? And so, I mean, if you're in a place where you don't have any challenge, get out, find a place where there's challenge, and don't be afraid to take on new challenges because they can actually change your career, make you an employee of choice. So you can be put in any project and you excel because some skills are actually transferable. Integrity is transferable. Attention to detail is transferable, right? What do you call analytical mindset is transferable. Ability to communicate concisely is transferable. I mean, it's transferable in every facet of life, no matter the department. So some core skills and some core things become transferable and they are not function dependent. Other things are function dependent. You don't know it. Learn them by all means because you can learn them. And if you see that you can't learn, then go and tell Archie because I mean, you should be able to learn. You should be able to learn or let somebody teach you something. I mean, it might be difficult, but you should be able. And I've seen that I'm able to learn anything because I tried. Some of them are not in my comfort zone, but I try real hard. Sometimes it takes a long time, but eventually you are able to get it. Okay. So employee of choice, new challenge is very important. Learn by all means. When new challenges come, take your time, have a reset period where you reset your mind, learn, and then jump on it. You make the mistakes, you correct yourself. Next time you will do better, right? So that's it. Last thing I wanted to say. I remember anytime there's town hall, the people asked me to go and do presentation. They told me I was good at it, but I hated it with my blood because it put so much pressure on me. You want to have an effect. The CEO is there, all the execs are there, and like they say, come and present this thing. And so I remember one time, even I was engineering manager in Kumasi. I said my child is sick. I'm going to Accra, because I was like it was putting pressure on me. But I realized that it was something that people were recognizing that was good. Sometimes you don't see what you're good at. Some people see it. And so when I saw it, I began to develop it. And then I became okay. Okay, so my comfort zone now became a trading tool for me, right? Okay, so that's what you should do. You should evaluate yourself and see where you are lacking and begin to move on. And you don't know, you get to a place, you get to the top, and then you are very ready. A lot of people don't get promoted because they are not ready. Okay, so get ready. When opportunity comes, you'll be moved. All right. So that's it. All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kafui. Thank you. These are insightful tips. Get ready.
Eunice,
Learn by all means. Hello.
No, go ahead. When you're done, I wanted to add something quickly to
Okay.
what Kafui had said. And
Please take it.
Kafui has okay, so Kafui has started off by saying to the question that the lady had asked, by saying get out. And it's true. Sometimes you just need to leave. We have a lot of employees who are in organizations where they are very, very unhappy. And when that happens, you start complaining. Every little thing you complain, you find the environment toxic. You become toxic yourself. Your attitude goes down south, and you get the reputation of the person who is always complaining, of the person who has the negative vibes, etc., etc. So if you are in an organization that you think is not matching your vision for yourself or your plans for yourself, leave. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Eunice.
Thank you, Antwiwaa. Yes. So if it's not matching your reputation and expectation, you leave. Thank you. Okay, so back to our comments and questions. Angela says, everything Antwiwaa talked about, very relevant and important. But if I may ask, how many employees really get recognized doing these? Kissing us really pays off in our part of the world, sadly. Okay. I don't know if Angela wants this question answered. Okay, and then another one from Angela. She says, leaders tend to surround themselves with people they think are not a threat to their positions. Rather, they're genuinely capable ones. Okay.
Sorry, Angela has some very, very on point observations.
Yeah.
But you will get recognized. What I tell people is that sometimes you are building a cash reserve, like Kafui had said also. So you're doing things and you go and cash out maybe in another organization. You understand? So you might not be recognized even in your current organization. That doesn't mean you should stop. Because when that opportunity comes somewhere else, you realize that what you've learned in company A will shoot you in company B.
That's right.
You understand? So it
That's
is
right.
about you, what you want, what your vision is, and that's what you go after. So yes, unfortunately, people who kiss us sometimes are rewarded. And some leaders do not want people who challenge them. An organization might have a culture that says that speak up, you will not be penalized. Ask all the questions, push back, you will not be penalized. But you do it, and if that leader at that moment is a dictator or can't take it, you will be punished for it. So it is important that you are aware, you have to be aware of the kind of culture that exists in your organization. So you come, you listen to us. That doesn't mean just go and keep asking questions and keep pushing back and keep doing things. You have to make informed decisions. So the important takeout is be aware of who you are dealing with, what you are dealing with, the culture of the organization, and where you find yourself.
Yeah.
So Eunice,
Thanks.
just to add a
Yeah.
little to what Antwiwaa said, when we talk about you being an employee of choice, you are always wishing for a promotion, which is probably a higher level or a grade up. But one thing we keep forgetting is a promotion can be lateral. So from my experience, for virtually 6 to 8 years, I was moving every 2 years, but they were lateral movement. Some of my colleagues saw it to be, oh, no, this is not a promotion, this is not this. But in the end, when we look back for 6 years, you could see that I have gained relevant finance experiences, which positioned me for my next role. Back then, the rest of them were all stuck doing the same thing for 6 years because they thought they were on top, they were rather the candidate. So you might be good, you have added value to it. Your promotion can be lateral. It's also part of the promotion. Let us not rule that one out.
Yeah. Point is very key. Thank you, Jemima. Thank you. Willie says reputation is a currency, reputation is built, reputation is everything. Sylvia says strong points out there. And from Alan, it may get you the position sometime, but won't keep you there, and certainly won't take you beyond lower management roles. And from now, don't say anything you cannot defend in a meeting. Angela is giving thumbs up. Alan, have a niche and learn to be good at it all over. Now says reputation, 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 be ever learning. Sylvia says continuous learning. Scholastica says an employee of choice needs to always be ready since an opportunity, into bracket, responding or contributing, etc., may come at any given point in time. That's right. Thank you, Scholar. And Mercy says, build very strong reputation in your career every day. Sorry, build a very strong reputation in your career every day as an interview. Thank you, Mercy. Nisaka says, do you always get the rewards of being the employee of choice? And what do you do if you are not rewarded? Yes. Antwiwaa or Kafui?
All right, okay. So of course, HR people become the
yes.
punching bag when it comes to these things like, oh, your favorite people, we like to vibe people, we like to lie to people. I've seen Fosu Adeko as well has written the same thing, okay, about getting stuck and all that, right? It's true, of course. I mean, there'll always be you know, for example, there's only one HR director role, for example, right? Okay. So good for you if you are working in a multinational. You build a reputation, you're on a talent card. Some companies are very good at managing their talent and managing talent profile and progressing talent from place to place. Others are not good at it at all. Others don't have the system at all. All right. So it depends on the kind of business you're in. And if you watch, you see that some businesses, okay, and I want to talk about Nestle. All right. I recruit a lot from Nestle. Very, very good at talent management. All right. I see Jemima is smiling. It's true, you know. Okay. All right. And all right. Okay. So, and I also want to give credit to Diageo as well, Guinness. Very good at talent. Of course, when it started, it was not that good, but then it became good over time. Ofoso, for example, has come from Unilever and came to Danone and all that. Sometimes it so happens that, one, you feel you are an employee of choice. You feel you have made the mark. You feel you have earned the perks. But the truth is, you don't know the whole picture, right? You don't know the whole picture. All right. So people don't know the grid, right? The what and the how. You will be delivering consistently, delivering your performance, make sure every time more than 100%, 120% exceed of expectation, but there's also the how. All right. So you always want to be at the top right corner, right? So the how also has to work. Some people don't have the how right, but they always think that because they are delivering performance consistently, they are a bit like they are ready for the next role. You may not be ready because going to the next role, going to the leadership position requires much more than delivering on your current job, okay? There are leadership standards you need to understand. That's why I said that the basis of becoming an employee of choice is to understand the business context you work in. If you don't understand it, you'll be bitter forever, right? I've seen people have managed talent. They come to me, it's like, oh, you people, you're always promoting your friends and all. They're always, we have worked, we have seen nothing. We don't see nothing. We have worked, and you know the person's talent profile. The person receives feedback and doesn't work with the feedback. The person thinks that the system doesn't like them. They become toxic, like Antwiwaa said, and then of course they become. I will also not be an ostrich to say that some organizations also promote favorites, right? And like I said, if it's a place you see that the system are not working, take your key, open your door, go to the gate, pack your bag, and leave. That's it. And like I said, make also, whilst you're waiting to get an opportunity, make the best of where you are. I mean, learn the best you can. And when you leave, you cream the dividends in another business. Yeah, that'll be my answer. Yeah.
So, Eunice, if I could say a little. So, Kafui has given the view like HR person. That would talk like an employee. So, one thing I'll say is when you are
HR people are employees as well. Do you remember?
Yes.
No, yes, and like you said, we always blame you guys. But you see, when you are adding value on yourself to become an employee of choice, what you should have in mind is that you should have a goal. This is where I am. This is where I want to get to. And how do I get there? So for me, when I started my career, I keep telling everyone I want to become a female CFO. So that had always been my mindset. How do I get there? I know that I have a degree in accounting. I have to do my professional exams, which is to become an ACCA member. Whilst doing it, you gather your experiences. So even though you might become an employee of choice, the promotions are not coming, but personally, you should also have your goal. You should search a niche for yourself. I remember from the comments, Alan made it. Yes, you search a niche for yourself. We have a lot of accountants. So what sets Jemima aside from the rest? That is where it will guide you when you are adding value to yourself. This is where I want to get to as a female CFO. This and this are the experiences I needed. Like Kafui said, if you are not getting it or the environment is not helping you, you move on and you keep on adding. So you should have a target that this is where I want to get to, and these are the values I need to get to so that I can become what I had aspired to be. That is also key.
Thank you.
To add to all of that, now about carving a niche for yourself and sticking to it. Jemima, I like what you said about how you progressed through your career, where you did a lot of lateral moves. 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 3 years, a year and a half, until finally you moved up to where you wanted to be. Now, as an HR person, if I'm hiring somebody today for a particular role, if I have someone who has been in one particular role for 10 years in the same organization versus someone who has done different things in different organizations and has skills that are transferable and the right attitude, I'll most likely take the other person. Well, that person is coming with a wealth of experience. Okay, so, but that said, it also depends on the position. If I'm hiring a surgeon and the person is a brain surgeon, I would hire a brain surgeon with 10 years experience versus a brain surgeon with 2 years experience, because in the past year he was doing orthopedics. Before that, he was doing child, pediatrics, or he was doing gynecology and all of that. If I want a brain surgeon. So it depends on what you're doing and where you're going to. But you don't always have to move up in an organization. Lateral can be good, and it doesn't, like Kafui has done, an engineer, finance, HR. Right now, if somebody wants him, they'll have to pay premium. Myself, law, HR, and other things. You understand? So it is not about, yes, carve the niche and bloom where you have been planted, but be ready and open to other opportunities that will enhance you and that will help you have skills that you will be able to transfer into other places.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we go to the questions, I see 2 hands up. I would want to give opportunities to these two. So I know Nat has your hand, you have your hand up, and then Prince Anane, you also have your hand up. Please, can we hear you? Nat, you go first. Please unmute and speak to us. Okay, if Nat is not ready, Prince, please, you can shoot. Okay. Okay, Elizabeth Obin, your hand is also up. You can speak up.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my question is, a lot of us are recently graduating from schools and are looking for employment. I want to ask HR, if you are looking for experience and we're all just graduating, hoping to get that experience, how do we make ourselves marketable or the best candidates when we apply? Because if you don't give us the opportunity and nobody gives us the opportunity, we might never get that experience that you want. How do we market ourselves? So how do we apply? What do we put on our resumes so that you can give us the opportunity? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'll go ahead and then Kafui might add to that. So what I'm telling the young ones today is your CV or your resume starts from when you are in university. You know, when you are doing your internships, your free volunteering, etc., etc. But that said, when organizations are hiring for entry level, it is really not about experience. Experience is very relevant when we are hiring, up the ladder. So when it is entry level, it is about the attitude. It's about the program you have done. In Ghana, it's not about grades. I mean, in the Western world, grades matter. If you are top 5 percentile, you are assured of getting a job in certain top organizations. But in Ghana, grades, when we are doing like the graduate management training programs and stuff like that, then grades matter. But otherwise, at the entry level, if we are hiring engineers to come work on the lines, we are looking at the fact that you are a mechanical engineer or an electrical engineer, and then we are hiring for attitude. But that said, once you are at home and you don't have a job, you could volunteer. I know that life is hard, things are hard. So somebody will say, but when I go, they'll use me and don't pay me, and I have to use money to pay for transport to get there, and I have to feed myself, etc. And they'll be using me to make money. But yes, that's the reality. Sometimes that's just the way you have to go. Because that also exposes you. You might not get a job in that organization, but through that, you make friends or get links in other organizations that might hire you. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Antwiwaa.
thank
Kafui, would you want to add any?
All right, okay, so this question is always very hard. Okay, so Antwiwaa managed it very well. But another thing just to add to Antwiwaa as well. Okay, I think that one of the things you should be looking at when you're getting out of school is to look at what relevant tools and skills are the ish now and begin to learn them. All right, as we speak, there's a guy who had just finished school who we are told is very good in Excel. It's like he has advanced Excel skills even whilst he was in school, and we're seeking to hire him. And then before we realized, the bank had taken him for national service. All right. We believe he's going to be kept, okay, because he's actually worked himself before he finished school, learned the skill, and then he's actually now very marketable. Right. So those are the things. Volunteering works as well, but then begin to learn something skillful that will be needed. All right. And of course, it's true. It's not every organization that has patience for entry-level people. They want experienced people who can just like take off when they come in. All right. So we are selfish like that. Okay. But then volunteer, learn the right skills, learn something that is needed, and peradventure. And if you're religious, pray. All right. Okay. So that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Exposure is
Eunice,
very key. Yes. Yes, Antwiwaa.
oh, go ahead. Go
Yes,
ahead.
it's very key in adding value to yourself. So whatever opportunity you are presented with, grab it. It may add value to you. Antwiwaa, please shoot.
I was going to say there's something Mama has written in the chat. Some of us are still not clear cut on the specific career path we want to settle on for now. We just take roles that can help us make a living. What do we do? How do we settle on one career path?
Okay.
So I know that it looks like Kafui is very religious, and Kafui, you keep quoting from the Bible and and all of that.
Oh, Antwiwaa.
Um, but I am aligned with that. So sometimes our careers are chosen for us. You go to school, you study finance, you are done, you can't find a job. Somebody hires you as an HR admin. That could be your career. My father used to tell me, as of first degree is first degree. My first degree is in agriculture economics from USC. My second degree is law, and since then I've done diploma in MBA and other things. So the fact that you have a first degree like Kafui in engineering doesn't mean that your career has to be engineering till the day you die. So you've been given the opportunity to make a living. Maybe that can become your career. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Antwiwaa. We have 6 minutes to wrap up. We have comments here to be read, but unfortunately, we may not be able to read. I want to jump onto the questions so that you address the questions for us. We acknowledge and thank all our audience for posting the comments in here, but please permit me to read just the questions because of time. Thank you. So there is a question from Osuya. She says, you don't always have to move up. People hire for what they need. So I should get ready for what I want, being ready and open to opportunities that would enhance my objectives. Let me write on Antwiwaa's input. I'm hiring for interns. Send me messages if you'd like to know more. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that was a comment from Fosuya. Thank you, Fosuya, for the opportunity. And Nai is also saying that she needs volunteers to help with the mentoring cafe. So please share your CV if you want to be a mentor. God bless you already if you choose to be one. I saw a question. I think I skipped it. Sorry. Okay. I saw a question. Yes. So the question is, how do you maintain a good attitude in these stagnant times? That is, the person started from, how do you deal with lateral promotions when it becomes frustrating so many years, when you are stuck? How do you maintain a good attitude in these stagnant times? Kafui, the person wants Kafui to answer. So Kafui, over to you.
I know why the person is asking. There's a big history behind it, which I wouldn't say. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think it's been answered thoroughly by Jemima and Antwiwaa as well. I mean, whilst you are actually, you need to understand what you want. All right. Okay. So Jemima spoke about the fact that, of course, she's a finance person, so she needs to know commercial reporting. She needs to know control. She needs to know talks of supply finance. She needs to know internal audit and all that. So she was giving opportunity to move laterally. And for me, one thing I always tell people that you need to understand what your next job is. What are you gunning for? What are you looking for? What is your next logical role? What do you want to become in the future? So the roles that you are taking, are they relevant? Do they speak to what you want to become? If they don't, find another job. Whilst you're waiting, keep a good attitude. Don't be toxic. Just bid your time, and when it comes, you leave. So that's how you manage it. All right. I I don't know what happened to me, but then when I finished school as an engineer, when I was working, I've done ACCA before. I tried it. I did similar. I've written 2 papers in SIM before. I was doing everything. My father called me and said, "My friend, I see you want to do everything. Please focus your career." And then I said, "Okay, fine." I had to take stock and see what I wanted to become, and then this is how my career has evolved. Okay, so understand what you want, and whilst you're moving, ask yourself if this role that I'm being given, does it speak to my career ambition? If it doesn't, stay there, look for one, and once you're there, make the best out of it. And when the opportunity comes, move. And that's how I think you should manage it. Fosua, I know I answered your question because you did exactly what I said.
Yeah. Thank you. We want to thank all our audience. Thanks so much for joining. We want to give an opportunity to all our panelists to make one statement as their closing statement as we wrap up. So we want to begin with Antwiwaa.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yes.
Nathan.
Yeah, please, I have a question.
Okay. Sorry, please go ahead. Nat.
Okay. So I I want to ask generally, how do you navigate workplace politics, especially when you are a reserved person? How do you navigate? And have seen that the notion that your work will speak for you, is it's not something which is correct. Sometimes your work will not speak for you. If you are not you're a reserved person and you are not able to like speak in meetings and make your superiors know what you are doing. So how do you navigate workplace politics, especially when you're a reserved person and normally your dominant colleagues take over you in a way? So that's my question.
Okay. Thanks, Nat.
Nat, I think that in a way you've answered your own question.
Yeah.
So your work might be great, but you have to sell yourself. You don't have to, it's not about being too known. But when what I've noticed about Americans, and that's just the way they are, and we say that they brag a lot. They are not bragging, they are selling themselves. I have interviewed a lot of people who speak like they are mice. The person is something like he or she's a mouse. They are squeaking. Instead of sitting up and being bold and talking about the things that they've done. You understand? An American will put water in a bottle. Or the way they describe how they put the water in the bottle, you think they went to the moon. But somebody in Ghana will put water in a bottle, you think that it was somebody else who did it and they were just standing by and helping the person. So how we sell ourselves is important. Workplace politics will always be there. So Nat, if you do the work and you think that I'll sit quietly and let the work talk for myself, you'll be left behind. So if you need to talk to somebody on how to work on yourself to speak up, please do. It is not about being too but it's about talking about something that you have achieved. And that goes to what I was about to say as a closing statement. Your advancement in an organization depends on you by a large extent. And that's what I tell a lot of employees. People will come and complain and say, I'm stuck, nobody's minding me, I've been in this road, da, 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 da. And especially women also. As for the women, we don't even go and talk. The men will come and complain, but the women will just sit quietly. Now, when a man is 20% ready, he will put his hands up to do the job. A woman wants to be 99.9% ready before they put their hands up to do the job. Okay, so when you are in an organization, your career lies with you. It is about you developing yourself. It is about you going to your line manager to say, hey, can I do something different? It's about you going to HR to say, you guys have a picture of a view of the whole business. Are there opportunities somewhere that you think I should be, aiming at? What should I do? What should I learn? So it is really about you. I do agree that you might have a line manager who just really truly doesn't like you. As they say, when the chicken can dance, but the akroma will still come and catch it and eat it. You can do whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
and your line manager will not appreciate it. That happens, but it doesn't happen a lot. So in summary, for me, your career depends on you and you alone. You have to fight for it. You have to be forceful. You have to study. You have to change. You have to be agile. You have to have the right attitude. Basically, you have to move. You have to be on your feet and moving all the time.
Okay.
Thanks, Eunice.
Okay. Thanks so much, Antwiwaa.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Yes. You're welcome, Nat. Antwiwaa, permit me to consider this as your closing statement. Is that fine? Or that will not be fair?
I'm sorry.
I'm saying because of time, should I consider this as your closing statement?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Jemima, your closing statement.
Thanks,
In
Eunice.
one sentence, we appreciate. Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Eunice. So what I'll say is, if you don't add value to yourself, the little value you have now will go down. You need to understand yourself, who you are. You need to understand where you want to get to, and you need to deliberately put in effort to get to where you want to get to. And I think that one of the resources you can easily access is the mentoring cafe. For me, I didn't have that at the beginning of my career, but as per the sessions I had with my mentee, I was like, wow, this is a very good opportunity for you to get closer to your professionals. And always have a personal plan. Have a personal plan in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term. Where do I want to get to? Because you cannot do everything. And if you don't have that personal plan, that's when you start complaining, my person is moving, this person is moving. Me, I have my personal plan. I know where I want to get to next year. I know where I want to get to in the next 5 years. And it helps you in building value to yourself as an employee. Thank you.
Thank you, Jemima. And lastly, but not the least, Kafui, your closing statement.
All right, okay, so I'll just rehash what I said. Reputation is everything. Reputation is a currency. You need to make sure your currency is appreciated by conscious, deliberate investment into your career. All right. So I also want to give an assignment. If you're here, you don't understand the business mission, you don't know the business strategy, you don't understand, you don't know what the vision is, you don't know what we're chasing, you don't understand how the business performance, you don't know the business model. The way you start is by smelling like the business. Go understand it. To screw your head in place, you will now begin to look like the business and begin to think like the business. And whilst you do so, because a lot of the leaders most likely role model the values and the priorities of the business, you'll be recognized, all things being equal. And if you find that you're having challenges, take a reflection. If you're religious, pray. And I believe God will direct you. And I've always had that experience. But hey, build your reputation. And when the currency is strong and economic times come, you still be strong. So Jemima's point, if you keep your value now and you don't work on it, you will depreciate. All right. So thanks very much for having me, and God bless all. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I am grateful to all our panelists and our audience. We say thank you so much. I believe I've learned just as you have also learned. So you can have the recording on our YouTube page. Now has posted the YouTube link in the comment section. Please go there, go and re-listen to the discussions, subscribe, and then share. Also, please follow our LinkedIn page, the Mentoring Cafe LinkedIn page, for our next session, which comes off in January. So yes, let's all imagine a country or an industry where everybody is yearning and trying to be an employee of choice. I believe our country and our industries will be a better place for all. So let us go out there, be transformed, and be an employee of choice. Thank you so much for joining us for today's edition. All the best. Have a fruitful day. Thank you.
Eunice, can we take a group picture?
Thank you.
If you could put.
Yes. Please hold on. Hello, please hold on. Don't drop yet. Don't drop yet. Please put on your cameras. Put on your cameras. Put on your cameras. Let's have a group photograph. Yes. So as we get that done, I want to take the opportunity to acknowledge, I see some folks online. I want to acknowledge the country HR director of CCBA Tanzania, Scholar passed by. Scholar, thanks for coming. And then I see Sergi Leiva, he's the country finance director for CCBA. I see Sedem, he's a country supply chain manager for CCBA. Thanks for joining. Okay, so now, please take the photograph for us.
Sally, I'm struggling. Nathan,
I've got a couple.
Nathan, I need help.
Nathan, please take the photograph for us.
It's done.
It's done. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a fruitful day. Thank you, Antwiwaa, Kafui, Jemima, and all of you. Thank you.